Okay, let's dive in. You know that feeling right before a job interview,
Oh, yeah.
especially if it's in English. Maybe that's not your first language. Your mind is racing.
Totally. You're trying to line up all your answers, make that connection.
Exactly. You want to show them what you've got. So if that whole scenario sounds familiar, well, you're definitely in the right place today.
It's amazing how much pressure can be in that moment, right? Before you even start speaking, it's pretty universal, wanting to put your best foot forward.
And the English part can add another layer, for sure.
Yeah, huh?
So that's precisely what we're getting into today. This deep dive is all about navigating those job interviews in English.
Yeah, whether you've got one scheduled or maybe you're thinking about a career shift.
Or maybe you just want to sharpen up those professional communication skills in general.
Right. And really these skills, especially strong English communication in, so many global fields, it's not just about the interview.
Good point.
It's about opening doors, creating opportunities long term.
Absolutely. So here's the plan for today. First, we're going to break down how to craft a really compelling self-introduction. Something that grabs their attention right away.
Sets the tone. Very important.
Then we'll get into understanding and actually answering those common interview questions, how to do it with confidence and clarity.
And not just giving the right answer, but making it engaging, right?
Yeah.
Tailoring it so they see the real you and what you offer.
Exactly. We'll also focus on some practical tips for improving your English speaking and listening skills, specifically for an interview context.
Mm-hmm. Little nuances there.
And finally, we'll talk about projecting confidence, professionalism, even when your nerves are kind of going wild inside.
Yeah, that confidence piece. It's more than just words, isn't it? It's how you carry yourself, the nonverbal stuff. We'll unpack some of that.
Okay. So our aim here is to give you really practical, actionable stuff. We want you to walk away from this feeling more prepped, more sure of yourself.
Ready to turn that potentially stressful interview into a real chance to shine.
Right. Let's kick things off with that crucial first moment, your self-introduction.
The intro. It's fascinating how much weight that carries, how it can really shape their whole perception of you from the get-go.
Okay, so let's talk about that first impression power. Your introduction, it's like your opening pitch, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's your first chance to really grab their attention, set a positive vibe for the whole conversation.
And if you think about how we process information, a good, clear, confident intro doesn't just list facts.
No, it subtly shows them you can communicate effectively right off the bat.
Okay, so what makes a strong intro? Let's break it down. First up, the greeting.
Simple, but crucial.
Yeah. Polite, approachable, confident. Something like, hello, it's great to meet you, or maybe good morning, thanks for having me today.
And how you say it matters just as much. Speak clearly, right? A genuine smile, you can often hear a smile, even on a call.
True. Eye contact is important too, even virtual. And body language.
Oh yeah, just sitting up straight shows you're engaged. Little things.
Okay, so after the greeting, you state your name and give a quick, relevant background snapshot.
Concise is key here.
Right. Like, my name is Sarah Lee, and I'm a marketing specialist with over 5 years of experience, mainly in digital strategy.
Or if you're maybe just starting out. I'm Alex Kim, and I recently graduated with a degree in business administration, specializing in finance.
Adding that little bit of context, like Sarah mentioning digital strategy or Alex mentioning finance.
Makes it more specific, more memorable, and if you're changing careers, maybe a quick mention of why you made the shift. Adds context.
Good point. Next, education. What do you include?
Focus on the highest level or what's most relevant to this job.
So maybe I have a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Toronto, graduated in 2022. Pretty straightforward.
Yep. And don't forget relevant extras, certifications, licenses, specific training. If it applies to the role, mention it.
Oh, right. Or maybe a big project you did in school or honors.
Exactly. Anything that shows capability related to the job. Concrete stuff.
Okay, then we move on to work experience. Where do you start?
Current or most recent role first. Keep it focused.
Like, I'm currently a customer support agent at TechCorp, where I handle client inquiries and help improve our user experience.
And for past jobs, zoom in on the experiences and achievements that really match this job's requirements.
What about internships or volunteer work? Does that count?
Absolutely, especially if it's relevant. Internships, part-time roles, significant volunteer projects, it's all valuable experience.
And use those action verbs, right?
Definitely. Managed, developed, implemented, led, analyzed, words that show what you actually did and achieved.
Okay, next big piece, skills and strengths. But you can't just list them, can you?
No, that's not very convincing. You need to connect them to examples, real situations.
So instead of just saying, I'm a team player,
Right. You'd say something like, I really value teamwork. For instance, in my last role, I worked closely with engineers and designers on a new product launch, and we actually delivered it 2 weeks early. See the difference?
yeah, much more impactful, shows, doesn't just tell.
Exactly. And always, always tailor the skills you highlight to the job description. Have those specific examples ready.
And don't forget soft skills, communication, problem solving.
Adaptability. Crucial these days. Interviewers want proof, not just claims. Quantifiable results are even better if you have them.
Okay, what about career goals? Did you mention those in the intro?
Briefly, yes. It shows you have direction and you've thought about how this role fits in.
So maybe something like, looking ahead, I'm keen to grow into a leadership role where I can manage a team and contribute more strategically.
Yeah, or if you're earlier in your career, focus on learning and gaining specific experience. Linking your growth goals to their company is always a smart move. Shows you see a future there.
Okay, this feels really key. Why this job? Why this company?
Absolutely critical. You need to show genuine interest and that you've done your homework.
No generic answers allowed here.
Please, no. Explain how your skills and passions line up with the role and the company's mission or values.
Give me an example.
Okay, maybe. I'm really excited about this role at Innovate Inc. because it perfectly blends my customer service background with my passion for green technology. I really admire Innovate's commitment to sustainability, and I'd love to contribute to a team making that kind of impact.
See, that's specific. It shows you know something about them.
Exactly. Mention their mission, their values, maybe a recent project you read about, something that shows real interest, not just, I need a job.
Okay, so how do you wrap up this power intro?
Just signal you're concluding that part. Reiterate your interest briefly.
Something like, so that's a quick overview of my background. I'm really enthusiastic about this opportunity and look forward to discussing how I can contribute.
Perfect. Simple, clear, positive.
So the key things for the intro: tailor it, keep it concise, like 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, about that length is good.
Oh.
And practice it out loud. Cannot stress that enough. Until it sounds natural, not robotic.
Right. Okay, so you've nailed the intro, but the interview's just getting started. Let's talk common questions.
Ah, yes, the usual suspects. Being ready for these really helps calm the nerves.
Definitely. Knowing what might come up lets you think through your answers beforehand.
And while every interview is different, there are some questions that pop up again and again. Worth preparing for those.
Totally. Like, tell me about yourself, which, hey, we just covered with the intro, so you're ahead there.
Check.
Then you've got, what are your greatest strengths? Often followed by,
What's your greatest weakness? The dreaded pair.
yep, and why should we hire you?
Mm-hmm.
Also, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Interviewers also often want to know how you handle tough times. So, tell me about a time you faced a setback is common.
Oh, good one. And the basics like, how did you hear about this position? And what attracted you to our company?
Which again links back to showing you've done your research.
And pretty much always they end with,
Do you have any questions for me? Crucial. Never say no.
okay, let's tackle a few. What are your greatest strengths? How do you answer that well?
Don't just list adjectives. Pick a real strength, then give a concrete example of when you used it and what the result was.
Like the teamwork example earlier.
Exactly. Or maybe enthusiasm, persistence.
Mm-hmm.
But always back it up with a mini story. Show, don't just tell.
Okay, what about that setback question? Tell me about a time you suffered a setback but stayed enthusiastic. What are they looking for?
Resilience, problem-solving skills, how you react under pressure. Can you stay positive and focused on solutions?
So you describe a situation, what went wrong, and then focus on how you approached it constructively.
Precisely. What steps you took, what you learned, how you kept things moving forward despite the difficulty.
Right. Now, the weakness question. What's your greatest weakness? How do you answer that without shooting yourself in the foot?
Yeah, it feels like a trap. Honesty is important, but so is showing self-awareness and growth.
So pick a real weakness.
A real, but maybe not fatal, weakness for the role. And crucially, explain what you're actively doing to improve it.
Like, public speaking used to make me nervous, so I joined a club and practiced, and now I'm much more comfortable presenting.
Perfect example. Shows honesty, self-awareness, and initiative. Just please don't say I'm a perfectionist.
Noted. Okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the goal with that question?
They want to gauge your ambition, see if your goals align with the opportunities they might offer, and check if you're realistic.
So think about growth, maybe more responsibility.
Yeah. Show you've thought about your career path and that you're aiming for development, perhaps within their company structure, if that makes sense. Thinking about 1 year, 5 years, maybe even 10 years helps frame it.
And why should we hire you? That's pretty direct.
It is. It's your chance to connect your specific skills, experience, and qualities directly to their job description. Make the link explicit for them.
Basically, here's what you need, and here's why I'm the person who can deliver that and make a great contribution quickly.
Exactly that. Your closing argument, in a way.
Okay, how did you hear about this position? Seems simple.
Usually is. Be factual. If someone referred you, mention their name. If you found it through research, briefly say so.
And what attracted you to our company? We touched on this for the intro.
Right. Reinforce your research. Talk specifics, their mission, values, recent projects, company culture aspects that genuinely appeal to you. Show you want this company, not just any job.
Okay, last one. Do you have any questions for me? Why is this so important?
Because asking good questions shows you're engaged, you're interested, and you're thinking critically about the role and the company.
So what are some good questions to ask?
You can ask about the team dynamics, what success looks like in the first, say, 6 or 12 months, what the biggest challenges or priorities are for the role right now.
Questions that show you're thinking about actually doing the job.
Exactly. Or about opportunities for professional development. Avoid asking about salary or vacation time right at this stage, usually.
Good tip. So for all these questions, the key is preparation, but not memorization, right?
Absolutely. Use sample answers to structure your thoughts, gather your examples, but don't memorize a script.
You want it to sound natural.
Yes. Practice saying your answers out loud. Maybe record yourself. Get comfortable talking about your experiences in your own words.
The more you practice talking about yourself and your work, the easier it becomes in the actual interview.
Couldn't agree more. Confidence comes from that preparation.
Okay, so we know what to say. Let's shift focus slightly to how you say it specifically, sharpening those English skills for the interview.
Yeah, this is crucial, especially if English isn't your native language. Clear communication is key.
So rule number 1, speak clearly and concisely.
Right. Moderate pace, don't rush, don't drag. Use relatively simple, precise words. Avoid jargon unless it's standard for the industry and you know it well.
And try to cut down on filler words, the ums and us.
Yeah, a few are natural, but too many can make you sound hesitant. Pausing briefly is often better than filling the silence.
Okay, what about pronunciation and articulation?
Important for being understood easily. If there are key industry terms or phrases you stumble over, practice them specifically.
Use online tools or apps, maybe?
Sure, those can help. Recording yourself is great for hearing how you actually sound. And think about emphasis too. Stressing the right words adds clarity and confidence.
Listening is just as important as speaking, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Active listening. Really focus on what the interviewer is asking.
And it's okay to ask for clarification.
Totally. Okay. Better to clarify than to misunderstand and answer the wrong question. A simple, could you repeat that, or just to confirm you're asking about, works perfectly. Shows you care about understanding correctly.
Good advice. And we mentioned it earlier, but body language.
Huge impact. Maintain good eye contact shows engagement. Nodding appropriately shows you're listening.
Sit up straight.
Right. Project's energy. Try to have an open, engaged facial expression. A natural smile goes a long way.
And if it's in person, a decent handshake. Dress appropriately for their culture.
All part of that professional impression. It shows respect and awareness.
How about building vocabulary and fluency overall? Any quick tips?
Consistent practice is the name of the game. Listen to English podcasts like this one.
Good plug.
Watch movies, TV shows. Try to have conversations in English when you can. Focus specifically on talking about your skills and experiences clearly.
And don't worry too much about perfect grammar.
Well, strive for accuracy, but don't let the fear of small mistakes paralyze you. Clear communication is the main goal. Fluency builds over time with practice.
Okay, let's talk about something everyone feels. Interview anxiety. Nerves. It's normal, right?
Completely normal. Almost everyone feels it to some degree. The trick is managing it.
So how do you do that?
Preparation is the #1 antidote. The more prepared you feel, knowing the company, knowing your answers, the less anxious you'll likely be.
Makes sense.
What else?
Relaxation techniques can really help. Deep breathing right before you go in, a quick mindfulness moment, anything to calm your system.
Mock interviews too.
Yeah.
Practicing the scenario. Yes. Practicing with someone, or even recording yourself, helps you get used to the format and build confidence in your delivery. Reduces the fear of the unknown.
And during the interview itself, if you feel stuck.
Take a breath. It's okay to pause for a second to gather your thoughts before answering. Better than rushing or rambling.
Thinking before speaking. Sounds simple, but hard when you're nervous.
It takes practice. Just acknowledge the nerves are there, but try to shift your focus to your excitement for the role and showing what you can do.
Great advice. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot today. Let's do a quick recap of the main points.
Sounds good. So first, we talked about that all-important self-introduction, making it strong, tailored, and confident to set a great first impression.
Right. Then we dug into preparing for those common interview questions, having specific examples ready, and structuring your answers thoughtfully.
Third, we looked at sharpening your English communication skills, speaking clearly, listening actively, using positive body language, practical stuff.
And finally, we touched on managing that inevitable interview anxiety through preparation, practice, and relaxation techniques.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway is that success in these interviews really boils down to solid preparation and practice. It builds that confidence.
Absolutely. If you put in the work using the tips we discussed, you really can boost your confidence and your chances of landing that job.
Definitely. Turn that interview into your opportunity.
Couldn't agree more. So take these ideas, practice them, and approach that next English interview feeling ready.
And hey, if you found this deep dive helpful,
Yeah, definitely hit that like button, share it with anyone else prepping for an interview, and make sure you subscribe to the channel